When Cruelty Becomes Policy, the Drowning Proposal. In August 2026, a caller to Talk TV proposed something so grotesque it should have ended the conversation immediately. Send the Special Air Service SAS underwater to cut holes in migrant boats, drowning hundreds of people, leaving no witnesses or evidence. The host read this out. Not as a horror story, not as an example of depravity, just as another caller's opinion in the marketplace of ideas. This is where we are now. The English Channel migrant crossings remain a flashpoint in British politics as of August 2026. Exact recent statistics require careful verification, but the pattern is well established. Thousands of people continue to risk death in small boats crossing from France to England, fleeing war zones, failed states, and persecution. The rhetoric around them has steadily descended from concern to frustration, to outright eliminationist fantasy. That caller didn't emerge from a vacuum. He was cultivated by years of increasingly dehumanizing language, where migrants became floods, invasions, and swarms. Once you've linguistically transformed human beings into a natural disaster, proposing mass murder becomes just another policy suggestion. Let's address the frustration first, because ignoring it is dishonest. Working-class communities in Britain face genuine pressures: housing shortages, strained public services, wage stagnation, and a sense that no one in power listens to them. When you're on a years-long waiting list for social housing and you see headlines about migrant accommodation, the rage is real. When your wages haven't kept pace with inflation for 15 years and you're told the economy needs more immigration, you feel gaslit. These feelings matter. They're not illegitimate. But here's the crucial distinction. Your housing crisis wasn't caused by refugees and dinghies. It was caused by decades of policy choices that prioritized property speculation over building homes, shareholder returns over worker wages, and austerity over investment. The migrants are scapegoats, not causes. Now the uncomfortable truth about demographics. Yes, the majority of channel crossers are young men. According to UK government data from recent years, roughly 70 to 80% of arrivals are male, and many are in their 20s and 30s. This isn't a secret conspiracy, it's a brutal calculation. Families fleeing danger send the strongest, most capable member ahead to establish asylum status, find work, and bring the family safely through legal reunification channels later. The alternative is watching your children drown in the channel. Young men also face the highest risk of forced conscription, targeted killing, and torture in conflict zones like Syria, Afghanistan, Eritrea, and Sudan. But the visual of young men arriving triggers something primal in populations: suspicion, fear of outsiders, concern about security. Right-wing media understands this psychology and weaponizes it relentlessly. They show the boats full of young men and whisper invasion. They never show the families waiting in camps or the bodies of those who didn't make it. So what kills empathy? First, distance. Most people calling for boats to be sunk have never met a refugee, never heard their story, never looked into the eyes of someone who watched their village burn. Second, economic anxiety creates zero-sum thinking, where every resource given to them feels stolen from us. Third, media consumption patterns create echo chambers where migrants exist only as statistics, threats, or political talking points, never as humans. Fourth, repeated exposure to crisis imagery creates emotional numbing. When you've seen 1,000 photos of overcrowded boats, the individual humanity dissolves into a blur. Fifth, and most insidious, politicians and media figures have discovered that demonizing migrants is politically profitable. Every cynical speech, every cruel policy proposal, every dehumanizing headline gives permission for ordinary people to express the ugliest parts of themselves. That Talk TV caller didn't invent his genocidal fantasy in isolation. He heard it echoed, validated, and normalized in 1,000 small ways first. Here's what that caller and people like him refuse to imagine: the specificity of suffering. Picture being a 24-year-old man in Kabul when the Taliban returns. You worked as a translator for an NGO, non-governmental organization. Now you're on a kill list. Your sister was a teacher. She's been forbidden from working, beaten for appearing in public without a male guardian. Your younger brother is 14 and about to be conscripted. You have two choices: stay and watch your family be destroyed, or take the most dangerous member, you, and run. hoping to earn enough in safety to eventually bring them out. You sell everything. You pay smugglers. You walk across Iran, Turkey, and Europe. You sleep in forests. You're robbed. You're beaten. You finally reach the French coast. The boat is smaller than you imagined, more crowded, the sea rougher. You're terrified. You're also desperate. And somewhere in England, a man who has never missed a meal in his life calls a radio station and proposes murdering you should be national policy.